What's going on with you guys? You know who it is. It's your boy John Mike, and today I'm down in Fayetteville, North Carolina with my guy Robert Edwards. He's the MD at FFWC, which is Family Fellowship Worship Center. They're an amazing and growing church down here in Fayetteville. So I wanted to bring to you guys and have Robert show you his amazing Ableton setup. They run stems every Sunday with a 3-piece band. So I wanted to show you guys that it's possible, no matter how big or large your ministry is, you can run ministry with excellence using tracks. They're a proponent of gospel, multitracks, loop gospel, all that good stuff like that. So I wanted to show you guys his setup. Robert is a Ableton guru.
Oh man,
Ableton guru. So I'm gonna throw it to him, and I'm gonna let him talk about his Ableton setup and how he has it set up, and how he has it routed, and how they run tracks. They use gospel multi-tracks, they use loop gospel, they use our stuff. So he's just gonna be showing how he does that. So I'm tossing it to you, Rob.
again, my name is RJ, man. Thanks, Jay.
Yeah, man.
Been rocking with you for a whole bunch of years, man. So so basically we use what we use as arrangement view. And so the way I have it is I have a master template. Basically at the top I have all my go-to loops. I'll just click one of them just so you can kind of hear what it sounds like. I get a lot of my loops from Loops by C-Dub, but some of them also homemade. So that'll be like a worship loop, you know, if I go to it. Something like that if I have to be in a worship moment. I have my upbeat stuff too. It depends what we're doing, like a freedom type joint. You know, something like that. So and then down here I have everything that we do in all our worship music, basically from in alphabetical order. So we have, like, again, I say rejoice all the way down to thank you, Lord. Turn it up, which is one of the songs they like to do here. We got our without your love.
So this is your stem section?
Yeah, this
right
is my
here?
stem
Okay.
section. Yeah.
So this is all stems. And this is in session view.
and
So
so-
you can run them in session view?
I can run them in session view. So let me make sure I move the screen over so you can see that. So just so we can start from left to right, as you can see, I have 5 audio channels off to the right, and this is
Okay.
actually supposed to be called BGV. Sometimes that happens if I try to drag a tempo track into where the audio track is supposed to be. It'll rename it to tempo. But that's supposed to be our background vocal track. So I have the loop, I got bass. If we don't have our bass player, I'll route that to our bass rig, which is over there to my left.
Nice.
Got the stem track, and then got the guitars and BGVs. I got everything separated. And so down here, I actually can control the independent mix of everything. So I'll turn everything down and bring it up according to taste for the video. Before we get down there, you can also see that I have the Aviom, kind of virtual Aviom setup that John Mike always preaches and talks about. So basically, if we go all the way over to the right, you'll see that I have a drummer mix, I have a bass mix, and I have a keys mix. That keys mix is going to my monitor that's right here next to me.
Gotcha.
And of course, the bass mix is going to my bass player, and the drummer is going back there to our drummer setup. And everything is basically set to go to these audio tracks. So as an example, this entire green section is all considered stems. And so as you can see, I have the audio set to send to this stem track that says house stems.
Got it.
The guitars are set to GTR, which is the house guitars, basically, so that I can control the master for the guitars all at once versus having to control the independent sends that I'm sending to the house.
That's dope.
So as an example, if we do, I don't know, let's see, say so. So obviously nothing's playing right now, but as I begin to fade things in, that's the loop that's playing for that. And then if I slowly bring in the guitar, that's the intro right now. So you see the BGV is there. So instead of controlling these independent mixes down here,
Yeah.
I can just control that all at once. So I can bring that back in. Same thing with the stems. So that's how that works, just to make
Got
sure
it.
you understand that independent mix control. Now, as it pertains to sending everybody their mix, as an example, if you see here, the Bravo mix is the bass mix. So everything that's set to Bravo is what's going to be coming through the bass player's mix. So if he wants a particular set of vocals for a particular song, or whatever that looks like, I can give him that there.
So is it it's name Bravo? Or
It's Bravo. So
bass.
bass and
Yeah.
Bravo.
So we got to remember you're military,
Right.
Right. This is a fort. We're actually in a fort area,
Fort Bragg area,
Fort
yeah.
Bragg area. So
Fort
in
Bragg,
Robert's
yeah.
military, I forgot to mention that. So if you hear him say stuff like
Phonetic
Bravo,
alpha,
Alpha,
right,
Charlie,
Delta, yeah.
Delta, stuff like that.
So staying in line with that, the alpha mix, the alpha mix is for the drummer. So as you can see, for the drummer, I have a lot of like the bass and the loop. I have it maxed out in his mix because he wants to feel all that stuff
Got it.
that's happening in his mix. The stems are there. He doesn't have as much BGV during our live sets. A lot of times he'll want me to cut the guitar down and a lot of the stem down, but he wants that loop and he wants that bass. So he'll have that. But that's pretty much how I control the independent mixes. And also, is that a good time to?
Yeah, you can.
So actually, we also have the
Yeah,
an
just
LS.
show it.
We also have an LS9 at our church, the Yamaha LS9. So everyone has the opportunity to have an iPad at their particular station. And what that does is it allows us to get into the mix. So once I give them a particular raw mix from my personas, they can actually go into, as an example, the drum mix. He can actually go into his own mix and EQ things to taste. So in a situation where you don't have the Aviom system, a lot of the digital boards are coming out with apps nowadays that are allowing you to connect via iPad or iPhone and sometimes Android to be able to control your independent mix. So it's just another solution for us to have versus the $9,000 Aviom system.
Right.
So that's what we use here. So a couple of things that I do in my set to kind of, in terms of routing, obviously everything has its own. So I have a Personas. It has 8 outs that I use. And so the loop goes to 1, the bass goes to 2, the stems also goes to 2. So again, when I have a bass player, I'll route that out to a different number. So real quick, while I'm talking about it, the bass player's mix is 7. So if the bass player doesn't show up, then I route the bass stem to 7, and then I send that out of his bass mix or out of his bass amp. So, but I have that merged with 2 because it's considered a stem instrument. I just cut it down in the mix so the mix isn't muddy. So I just cut that down in the mix. Sometimes I just cut it all the way off. And the guitars is 3, BGV is 4, and again everything is sent separately to the house so that our sound man can EQ everything separately. Another thing that I like to do is this little Q out area. I have that set to 5.
Okay.
And so basically, instead of putting a metronome track in all of our stems, I just basically turn that Q out to 5. And so when I turn that on, that happens in the in-ear mix.
Got it.
So it's just one less track that I send.
Exactly.
Or I put in our setup. I just cut that on, turn the Q out on, and that's kind of how we roll.
Got it. That makes sense.
And so this tempo track, basically, I have that there so that it's almost the same thing as where you see the 148 BPM. But what that does is when I drag it over into arrangement view, it allows that BPM to already be merged over into arrangement view. I set it to slave, and then that's what allows the tracks to go synonymously from one track to the next.
Got it.
Or seamlessly from one track to the next.
So before you go into the arrangement view, you have in this session, in session view, your session view setup, you have, is it like your entire church catalog?
That's our entire church catalog
So
today.
if they flip something on you
Right now
in the middle of service, you can just jump over to session.
If they want to do right now, we lift your name.
You can just jump straight to
there. Right there.
Got it.
Right there. And so to be able to follow sometimes, because it's not an arrangement view, I'll open up the cues track. And because I know the song, it'll let me know where things are. Right now you don't hear the cues because
you gotta
it's set the channel 5, which comes in our in-ear.